It was early 2020, just before the world was engulfed by the grip of COVID-19. Back then, I had a deep passion for cosplaying, immersing myself in the world of characters and costumes. This particular tale unfolded at PAX South, where I found myself attending for the very first time, accompanied by my aunt and cousin. I had chosen to portray Celestia Ludenberg, a captivating character from the semi-popular video game called Danganronpa. My cousin had joined in the fun, donning the attire of Mikain, another character from the same game. Together, we embarked on an unforgettable adventure. Throughout the day, we indulged in the joys of PAX South, taking countless photos with fellow cosplayers and diving into thrilling video game experiences. It was an absolute blast, and the excitement seemed to grow with each passing moment. However, as our departure drew near, fate interjected in the form of a young child. She appeared before me, around 9 years old, introducing herself as Callie, though that was most likely a pseudonym. Eagerly, she asked if she could take a picture with me. Regrettably, I explained that I was on the verge of leaving and feeling exhausted. Yet, I offered a compromise. If you can find me at the cafe area tomorrow, we can take a picture then. To my delight, her face lit up with renewed enthusiasm, and she promptly scurried off to a nearby table. And then, as if summoned by misfortune, a certain Karen emerged from the depths of chaos. This woman stormed toward me. Anger etched on her face and unleashed her fury, demanding to know why I had refused her child's request for a photo. Backing away, I tried to reason with her, explaining that I was about to leave but gladly offered to take the picture the following day. However, my words seemed to incite her further. With an unsettling determination, she seized me by the arm, forcibly dragging me along, insistent that I pose for a photo with her child at that very moment. Panicked, I kicked out instinctively with one of my heeled shoes, inadvertently connecting with the woman. Immediately, she erupted into a performance worthy of an Oscar, accusing me of assaulting her. "Help! Help! This heathen assaulted me!" she wailed, feigning tears for dramatic effect. I looked up, meeting the gaze of her child, who appeared crimson-faced, no doubt embarrassed by her mother's behavior. Thankfully, a security guard rushed to the scene, promptly intervening and urging the Karen to leave. Defiantly, she pointed at me, continuing her outburst. "She assaulted me. I demand her arrest." Caught off guard, I found myself at a loss for words, simply staring at her in disbelief. Realizing that her tale was met with skepticism, she lunged at me once more, hurling insults my way, words I won't dignify by repeating. Unfortunately, the weight of my costume prevented any meaningful retaliation. In the midst of this chaotic spectacle, the unexpected occurred. The Karen, driven by her blind fury, leaped onto my leg, resulting in an audible crack that reverberated through the crowd. Shock consumed me, rendering me unable to shed a single tear. "How does that feel, you witch?" she taunted, reveling in her cruel act. A heavy silence enveloped the scene, the tension palpable as it hung in the air. My voice pierced through the stillness, resonating with a mix of anger and disbelief. "You witch! How dare you harm me over a mere picture? I'm going to sue you!" The words thundered from my mouth, shaking the confidence of the Karen. At that moment, my aunt arrived, witnessing me sprawled on the floor, while the Karen stood flabbergasted. I could see the fury in my aunt's eyes, but she restrained herself, mindful of the presence of the security guard. Taking swift action, the guard promptly restrained the Karen, slipping handcuffs around her wrists. He called for backup and an ambulance, informing her, "Ma'am, you are under arrest for assaulting a minor." The Karen's screams filled the air as she was escorted away, leaving her child's father to pick up the pieces of the bewildering situation. When my mother learned of the incident, her fury knew no bounds. She wasted no time in pursuing legal action against the Karen. However, in a baffling turn of events, the Karen retaliated with a counterclaim of emotional abuse. The legal proceedings finally commenced in March, with the presence of the young girl and her father in the courtroom. To my surprise, the father approached me and offered a sincere apology on behalf of the woman. He confided that he had initiated divorce proceedings, though the outcome remained unknown. I hoped that he would gain full custody of their child, ensuring a safer environment for her. As we gathered in court, the Karen's hostile glare fixed upon me, accompanied by inaudible muttering, likely laced with profanities. I paid her no mind, refusing to let her intimidation affect me. The court proceedings moved swiftly, lasting only a week, as nobody had the patience to endure the Karen's absurdity. Astonishingly, she had the audacity to demand $10,000 USD from me, alleging emotional abuse due to my threat of a lawsuit. I couldn't believe her nerve. She had broken my leg and attempted to forcibly drag me over a picture. Karen's outlandish statement rang through the courtroom. Karen, this girl should compensate me with $10,000 because my self-esteem was shattered. I am accustomed to always getting what I want. If she had simply taken a picture with my child, none of this would have happened. I glared back at her, astounded by her delusion. Was she truly out of touch with reality? I was then called to the stand to provide my testimony about the incident. Addressing the judge, I began, Your Honor, Mrs. Karen attempted to coerce me into taking a picture with her child, even after I had offered a compromise. The security guard witnessed the entire altercation. You may ask him for confirmation. Karen wore a smug expression, seemingly convinced that victory was within her grasp. The security guard stepped forward and delivered his account, substantiating my side of the story. He also mentioned the existence of surveillance footage. Karen's face visibly drained of color. Bingo! She attempted to halt the case, proposing that she would drop her claim of emotional abuse if we refrained from presenting the video. I scoffed at her futile attempt. Instead, we counter-sued for $15,000, seeking not only compensation, but also justice. As the courtroom viewed the video evidence, it became unequivocally clear that Karen was in the wrong. The judge, now armed with irrefutable proof, addressed Karen sternly. Mrs. Karen, you are charged with assault of a minor. Handing down the verdict, he sentenced her to approximately 2 months of jail, time and community service. Justice was served, and, in addition, I received the $15,000 compensation I deserved. I joined Arcade Health, a medium healthcare company, as a software engineer at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Initially, the team I joined had a group of 5-6 offshore resources, but due to cost-cutting measures, they were let go, and only 2 onshore resources remained, myself and an older colleague named Tim. Dingbat, my lead for the content management side, was initially in charge. However, due to another project assignment, Angel became an additional lead alongside Dingbat under the functional management of Grim. After 6 months, it became evident that I was excelling in my role. However, Dingbat, seemingly wanting to assert dominance, took it upon herself to call me on my personal number and berate me. Concerned about the situation, I reported the incident to Grim, expecting it to be addressed. Unfortunately, nothing came of it. Grim and Dingbat had a long-standing positive relationship which influenced how the matter was handled. A month later, Dingbat began harassing Tim, who was not originally a software engineer but was forced into the role. As a result, Tim faced a steep learning curve, and Dingbat questioned his intelligence on multiple occasions. Finally, Tim reached a breaking point, and we arranged a meeting with Dingbat and Grim to address the issue. It was during this meeting that Grim had to acknowledge that Dingbat's true character did not align with the person they portrayed. For a while, things settled down, and Dingbat became somewhat more manageable to work with. Meanwhile, my project with Angel picked up pace, leaving me with less time to dedicate to Dingbat's project. However, Dingbat expected me to handle her project as if I had no other responsibilities and assigned me an overwhelming number of tasks. Angel, on the other hand, couldn't devote much time to our shared project since she was the sole engineer on another project. This left me juggling both Dingbat's and Angel's projects simultaneously. Realizing the strain this put on me, I sat down with Grim and explained that I had been working 80-hour weeks for a month. After hearing my concerns, Grim made the decision to temporarily relieve me of Dingbat's project. He instructed Dingbat to assign me only a few less demanding tasks. Although Dingbat was displeased, she reluctantly complied. As the year-end approached, during the meeting where leads report to managers, Angel went above and beyond to give me a glowing recommendation for a promotion. One notable accomplishment of mine was developing a solution that ensured the integrity of the key JSON values for all models. These values were crucial, as any issues with them would render the entire functionality of the system useless, preventing users from sending data to the server unless the code was modified. Developing this solution was an intensive 2-month effort requiring 80-hour workweeks. Despite my dedication and hard work, Dingbat dismissed my achievements and labeled me as incompetent, citing a supposed bad attitude. Dingbat's consistently negative comment became increasingly frustrating over time. Unfortunately, Dingbat's heavy criticism became a roadblock to my promised promotion, which Grimm had assured me would come. However, Angel persistently advocated for my promotion at every available opportunity, emphasizing my strong work ethic and positive attitude. In the end, it seemed that Grimm's friendship with Dingbat outweighed the recognition of my efforts. Fast forward 3 months, and I find myself back on Dingbat's project. During my absence, Dingbat continued to harass Tim relentlessly. Since the beginning of the year, when I was reassigned to her project, Dingbat has made it a habit to nitpick and criticize me at least twice every day. Fed up with her behavior, I confronted Dingbat in a chat, expressing how disrespectful her actions were toward both Tim and me. However, due to a miscommunication where she failed to inform me about certain tickets, I was unaware of their existence. The next day, she added Grimm to the chat, leading to a meeting where I detailed Dingbat's ongoing actions. Grimm, I believe your dissatisfaction stems from being removed from Angel's project, and you're redirecting it towards Dingbat. No. Dingbat has been verbally attacking me daily, calling me and cursing at me twice, creating a hostile work environment overall. This has been going on for a while. Grimm, you need to consider how others perceive you. Your attitude appears negative. As a result, Grimm brings in his boss, Cherry. Together, they put me on a performance improvement plan, PIP. This plan requires me to create a survey addressing the issues outlined and find a new area to work in within 6 months. During the meeting, they say, you should seriously evaluate how your team perceives you and decide if you want to stay with this company. You must strictly adhere to this PIP. If you make a single misstep, you're out. I respond, I didn't even think my actions were that inappropriate. It was Dingbat who escalated the situation. If you review the conversation, I made it clear that it should not have escalated, but she pushed it further. They reply, I suppose this is an opportunity for you to learn how to communicate with others and choose your words more carefully. Strike 1. Grimm strongly emphasizes the importance of the mandatory survey as they expect it to guide my response. Consequently, I let Grimm write it for me. To my surprise, the feedback from every survey emphasizes the following. OP has an excellent attitude, is a pleasure to work with, and remains positive throughout. They focus on resolving issues efficiently. Strike 2. Grimm and Dingbat assume that I will remain in my position until the end of the performance plan without discussing my replacement. However, I take the initiative and approach the manager of another team we collaborate closely with on Dingbat's team. Unfortunately, that manager didn't have an open position, but another team did. Within 2 months, he arranges an interview for me with that team. Fortunately, my positive reputation preceded me and I was offered the job. I had to submit a notice for my current position within the same company, following peculiar corporate HR rules. Up until that point, Grimm had been ignoring my emails regarding a possible transition, assuming I would remain for a few more months. During my notice period, I didn't receive any new tickets. However, I did set up a system based on Dingbat's own specifications. When Dingbat becomes upset about it, I simply quote her own words using the Webex feature. I say, I'm following the schematics you provided. You mentioned wanting a system where you only have to press a single button, and if you prefer, you don't even have to press it at all. Dingbat, I don't care. It's not useful. Grimm, Dingbat, why are you resisting this? It's beneficial. Dingbat, fine, I'll take a look. OP has never produced anything useful for us. They aren't even technical. Little did Dingbat know that my new job required much more technical expertise than she had ever needed. Grimm, Give it a try, OP. Schedule the meeting. Dingbat. It has to be on a Wednesday because I'm so busy. Nee. Sends out the meeting invitation for Wednesday. Later on. Grim. Can we reschedule for a later or earlier time? I already have 3 hours of meetings and this is my only break slot. Nee. No. Sorry. Dingbat insisted on Wednesday and this is the only available time I have before I leave. Grim. Oh, okay. Word reaches Cherry and she is furious. However, she can't take any action against me. I'm already in my notice period, and I have only done what I was asked to do. And so, the next 2 weeks unfolded in a similar fashion. On my way out, my new manager noticed my well-dressed attire and asked about it. I tell the truth, Grim instructed me to dress in business casual whenever we were in the office. He specifically mentioned slacks, a solid polo shirt, and a tie. Grim. A week ago, I was asked by HR why I was enforcing a business casual dress code for you. Nee, you told me it was mandatory. While I understand that Grim meant it as a guideline, I followed it strictly. Grim, I got reprimanded for it. Nee, I suppose this is an exercise in learning how to speak to others and watch our words. Grim, no comment. Strike 3. On my way out, I confided in Tim that the way Dingbat was managing the team was unsustainable. With my departure, he would be expected to take on additional responsibilities. It's important to note that Tim is a senior citizen, and this situation was far from ideal. I could hear the anguish in his voice. I advised him to explore opportunities on other teams within the company. However, that weekend, Tim's wife tragically passed away. May she rest in peace. As Tim made his own exit, he mentioned my comments and his wife's passing as reasons for his decision to retire. Now, Dingbat is left with no assistance, a system designed to replace Tim's role that she was counting on him to use, and the daunting task of working on 2 other systems for her migration project alone, while waiting 2-3 months for the corporate bureaucracy to find replacements for both of us. Meanwhile, I have a front row seat to witness Dingbat's incompetence coming back to haunt her. Sweet revenge indeed.